a platform, an online platform, where businesses that are growing and looking for additional capital and regular folks with extra money that are looking for a return on that money, those regular folks are called investors, come together and investors are able to invest in these companies over a regulated marketplace. And so that's all ArrowX does. It solves a very old problem in a new, modern, 21st century way.
And tell us
Yes.
what that 21st century way is all about.
So we've put in the technology necessary so that persons can invest right from their phones. And so you'll be able to go on arrowx.com, right on your phone or on your computer, desktop computer. We have a beautiful site that's available for persons to look in to. On Monday at 9 a.m. the companies will be revealed, and you'll be able to go and select the company. You'll be able to see all the information, their share price, how many shares they have available, all of the financial information, so that you can make an investing decision. These are two wonderful companies with Bahamian founders that have international aspirations, and so that's pretty much all I can say about them. I'm limited by law and regulation to keep information secret until the 9th and at 9 a.m. on Monday. But I can say one is an international food brand and the other is a tourism technology company. So some exciting stuff that's coming. And I better stop talking too much, otherwise I'll get in trouble with the regulators.
Yeah. So ArrowX is a stock exchange, and
Yes.
you are going to be listing other companies as well.
Yes. Yeah. So we're not listing our own shares. We are listing these two companies. So we're just kind of the mechanism in which you can buy into these other companies. That's all our license allows us to do. We don't give any investment advice, but what we do make sure is that the mechanics of a market, the purchasing of shares happens, and like I say, we do all of that over the internet.
You're similar to BizX.
Same licenses.
Same license as BizX.
Same licenses.
Okay, Godfrey?
What is a minimum investment?
So we have worked really, really hard to make it accessible, and that's what technology is for, to make things a lot more efficient. In the past, you would have had to spend $500, $1,000, $5,000, $50,000 to invest, and we have brought the costs and lowered the barrier to $25. So $25. So making it accessible so that anyone, including the boy that's packing your groceries, can become an investor.
So I can pick up my telephone, Google, well, not Google, but hit up arrowx.com, and I can, in a particular company, buy as much as I want to, up to $50,000.
So if you are, depending on your accreditation, if you're an accredited investor, you can unlimited. You can invest as much as you want.
What is an accredited investor?
There's a really long list of what it defines an accredited investor by regulation, but basically it's you make more than $250,000 a year, or you're a professional investor, or you're a financial institution, or you're a business. Like I say, there's a long list.
Okay.
But basically the idea is that you have enough money where you can invest how you want, and if you lose it, the regulators don't really care what you do with your money. But for all of the rest of us who are not accredited investors, you can invest up to $10,000 in each company 5 times a year. For a maximum of $50,000. If you want to invest more, you have to contact us, and we have a form for you to fill out, and you'll be able to do more. If you're an accredited investor, you can do as much as you want. So that's kind of the different classes of investors.
Let's say I'm a small investor.
Yes.
And I like this company, and I want to use the system whereby I buy $25 worth of shares
Mhm.
each month or each week. Is that possible?
So we intend at some point to have multiple companies come at multiple different times. Now, will you be able to buy into the same company at this moment? No. In the future, you will be able to because what this is kind of like an IPO, and in the future you'll be able to go on the secondary market, which is kind of like trading, and you'll be able to buy shares, but you'll be buying them from someone else that's selling.
So what you're really doing is in the sense is you're providing venture capital. Is that it?
In many ways, yes. So it is part of the capital markets. And please pull me back if I get too financial. I don't want to lose the audience because finance it can be very simple, but there's a lot of terminology that sometimes people throw at people to lose them, honestly. But so it is like capital markets. Crowdfunding was designed to as a modern way of getting startups funding. And that was because the venture capitalists in the States really only used to fund you if you were, and I'm being very blunt on the radio, if you were white, white male, went to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Northwestern, and were in tech. And every other business was kind of, not worthy of investment in their eyes. And people realized that no, this is ridiculous. That one group of people doesn't have a monopoly on good ideas. And so what happened was people got together and they started doing these investment clubs on the online. Then the Jobs Act came along and put some regulation down, and then our regulators quickly followed suit and started writing regulation in line with what the Americans and the British did. And so this is really a modern movement that has really only developed over the last 8 years, and in this country since 2017.
There are a lot of individuals in the Bahamas
Mm-hmm.
who have excellent ideas,
Most excellent.
but can't get funding.
Mm-hmm.
How would that kind of individual access ArrowAcX?
So on the website, arrowacx.com, if you are a business that's looking for funding in this way, you can click for founders. And then it's a different process than an investor. Obviously, as a business, it's equity, so it's not debt financing, which means that it's different. But you can start the process there, and we have a team that's dedicated just to onboarding businesses and working them through it. Our specialization is preparing them for the crowd. So we work with businesses and business advisors and the local entrepreneurial ecosystem to bring companies on board, and then we also work in building some buzz so that there's a lot of eyeballs that are willing to look at them, and when it's time for them to go to the public. And that's our role. We kind of work with both the investors and the business people.
Is there a fee for that service?
No. Oh well, let me tell you how we make money. So there's no fee for the initial contact of us. There is some.
But I mean, for you to assist a fellow with an idea who wants to get funding.
So yes, there are some initial startup fees. They're very small, but how we make our money primarily is through a success fee. So once the business gets funded, the investors have placed the money. It's deemed successful. That's when we get paid. So it's in line with. Obviously this is not a charity, this is not free. There's a lot of professionals that are working to make this thing possible. But we wanted to make sure to line up our business model with our values. And our values, I believe that when businesses get funded, the companies, their employees, they get to go out and hire people. Those people then go out and buy things in the economy will be better. So we wanted to line everything up with that.
Mr. Rahming, you, ArrowAcX stock exchange. Let's say an individual invests on Monday $3,000 in one of the companies.
Yep.
You're going to acknowledge that investment if it's done online.
That's correct.
Do they get a share certificate online?
That's correct. So everything is digital.
Okay.
They'll be able to in their on the platform. You'll be able to see your portfolio of companies that you've invested in, and everything is tracked there. We also have a clearing facility license, which means that these shares are registered in a registry that has the weight of law. So you'll be able to eventually take these shares and go into a lending institution and borrow against them. So we've set it up so that it's these are ownership of the company. You have rights associated with owning of shares. That means you have rights to dividends, rights to annual general meetings, rights to all kinds of things that are typical of owning a company.
Okay, so I invest in company A. I put $3,000 in company A, and when does company A get that money?
So company A gets that money when the raise is deemed successful. And so what does that mean? A successful raise is each company has to define a minimum that they need to take their business to the next level.
Okay.
So say
company A needs $500,000.
$500,000.
Okay.
And say company A only raises $400,000. The 90-day period closes, which is by the regulation, and they've only raised $400,000. They can't do their business with the $400,000. They needed $500,000. So the investors get their money back. That's what crowdfunding is about. There's a protection in there.
Okay.
If the company is not successful, everybody gets their money back. And what that does is it allows people to say, that's a really great idea. Let me see if others think it's a great idea.
Okay.
And they're able to hedge their bet with the crowd.
Good. So you then you are your stock exchange. You retain those funds until they reach $500,000.
And then at that point it becomes successful.
Right. And so you are not then responsible for what company A does after that.
So company A is, and we just had a long conversation with our regulators on this. Company A is by law responsible for carrying out the what they said in their business plan and what they did in their pitch deck.
Okay.
So company A, they can go to prison for fraud if they don't do what they said they were going to do. And so it's important to remember that you as an investor are protected by the Securities Commission and by the platform in investing in these things. And now I can't promise, and no human being can promise that an investment in a company is going to be safe, but you can promise that we are making sure that the companies are going to do what they say they're going to do. And then after they've used that money up, it behaves just like a normal company. There's ongoing reporting, there's ongoing, like I say, you have rights to certain meetings and certain access to information. You can demand certain things of the management, etc. And so,
would you be responsible for dividends?
So we're responsible for the distribution of dividends.
Okay.
Obviously, the company has to be profitable enough to make the money, but we will distribute them. Yes.
And you would do that, of course, at a fee.
Yes, at a fee. So that's a value add, and all of the fees are published online, so you'll be able to see them.
Okay. And so you then, Arawak X Stock Exchange would be in the market, encouraging a number of companies to register with you.
So right now,
in search of crowdfunding.
Yes. So right now we have companies signing up all the time, every day. We've had over 160 companies.
Is that right?
Yeah. 160 companies. So there's a lot of demand, like Mr. Inia said. There's tons of Bahamians with tons of really good ideas, but then there's also a lot of foreigners and foreign businesses that are trying to get in here to also do business from here. We actually have a pretty good environment for doing business.
So you don't have any restrictions with respect to foreign businesses?
As long as they're a Bahamian company regulated under the Companies Act.
Registered in the Bahamas?
Yes, we can provide services for them.
And is there a limit on foreign businesses in terms of the amount of funds that they would wish to raise in the Bahamas?
The limit, we treat all businesses the same.
And you are able to accept investors from outside the country?
That's correct as
in
well.
Those companies?
In all companies.
In all companies.
And so it's a complete level playing field, which is good because oftentimes the companies that are approaching us have business outside of the country anyway. They're often business people that live here, they have a second home here, and they've realized during this whole COVID time that there's really no place nicer to be than in the Bahamas. And they would like to move their businesses here, they would like to make this a more permanent home for them. And so obviously you need financing to do business, right? If you're going to be doing business long term, you need financing, and that's a problem that all business people everywhere have. And so we're setting up an exchange, a platform that treats the Bahamian the same as our other clients. And I think that's a first for our jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Rahming,
Yes.
the Bahamas is a place which seems to be more foreign investor friendly than domestic investment oriented.
Mm-hmm.
All right? From two perspectives. Ease of doing business. If you're a foreigner or a Bahamian, the ease of doing business is not easy. Does your company assist in local companies, for example, maneuvering through this course of being able to do business? In some countries, you can set a company up in less than 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bahamas, you got to jump through all kind of hoops
Mm-hmm.
to become operational.
Well, I will say that we are only a small part of the ecosystem. We're a specialist in the ecosystem. And that means that we do what we do really, really, really well. For other types of services, like, for example, if you need someone to help you walk your documents through getting business licenses or incorporation and stuff like that, we don't do that. No. So, but we do have a lot of relationships with these providers, and so when businesses come to us and they have problems, they have issues, we lend our as you can see from our team, we have a wide team of people and wide networks of people, and so we do try and help businesses at every point of their development. So, like if a couple weeks ago, we had someone who was having issues with something, and one of the executives said, "Hey, I know somebody who can help you," and they just made the introduction. And so we do that, and we don't charge for that. That's part of being in business. Obviously, the ease of doing business is always going to be a sticking point. It can always be easier. I think as long as it's trending towards it's getting better, and in the 8 years that I've been at home, it has been getting better. So, can the ease of doing business be easier? Of course, but that's not what we do. We focus on when a company is ready for financing. making sure that they're investable, making sure investors' rights are protected, and then hopefully they get funded. And once they get funded, everyone's better off for it.
But you do appreciate the fact,
I do.
Mr. Rahming, that the ease of doing business is a challenge in the Bahamas.
It's a concern for all business people in every country, everywhere. Even in the places that top the list, everybody complains about the ease of doing business because it could always be easier. Business is already very, very hard, and anyone that's in business knows this. And it's the common. What I would say, it's the common complaint around the country clubs. Everywhere you go, the people are always complaining about how it can be difficult. But I say that to say that, good business people don't let that get in the way of them helping their customers, getting in front of customers. Is it annoying? Some things, yes. But that doesn't stop you from delivering value to people.
But let me ask you another a similar question. What about the investment environment? Getting assurance that a particular environment will prevail. I am 78. I've seen governments go and governments come. All right? And I've seen governments in some ways squash local industries due to their policies. All right? And as a result of that, it leaves a black mark, a black eye. Sometimes it gives the sector a black eye, and sometimes it gives the country a black eye. All right? How do you navigate that kind of environment where a particular government may come in with one view and then they get kicked out, then another government comes with another view, and what that government did, they ignore? How do you deal with that? That's a reality, Mr. Rahming.
It is a reality. It's a reality that all business people have to deal with, including ours. And we are a regulated financial institution. So we're in constant communication with our regulators. And, some of getting back to the original point of the investment ecosystem, we're working with them. They understand as well, when you talk to them, that things are not what they should be. And so on the regulatory side, we've been fortunate to have really excellent regulators that are working with us. It is really, people like to just look at regulators and say, tell them their problems, but it is not an easy solution, and it really takes industry and regulators kind of working together to solve some of these problems. And I'm very happy to say that we have regulators that are like that. And but it is a grind, it's a process. Fortunately now, we're Arawak is Bahamian owned, Bahamian run, and we have a vested interest in making the environment better.
It took a long time for you to get this license, didn't it?
It took some time to get this license.
How many years?
It took 4 years.
4 years.
But they did all, and to their credit, they did all of the their due diligence, because it's not easy. You don't need it. You don't want very many people or any old person getting up there on the radio and saying what I'm saying, because this is there's potential for wide abuse with something like this. And so fortunately our directors, many of them were former regulators themselves, former executive director of the Securities Commission. My father spent 8 years on the disciplinary committee of the Securities Commission. So we understand how regulators think. We understand that it is their job to protect the retail investor, and it is our job to grow these businesses that decide to list on us in a way that makes sure that people's rights are protected. And but you can't.